Hey everyone, it's Daniel Chang with VintageMagic.com, and thanks again for watching my YouTube channel. If you're interested in learning more about magic investing or collecting, we're going to have weekly videos in regards to that. And just hit subscribe below and hit that little notification button so you can get all the notification once the video hits. All right, so this is going to be a video about kind of a series I'm going to be doing with collectors and such who, they've always messaged me over the years. I keep getting the question, Daniel, what should I invest in? What should I buy? Here's kind of where I'm at financially. How would you approach it? So there's actually a lady named Susie Orman. She's on like CNBC or MSNBC. She has her own show. Written countless books, and she has a show where you basically call in and you can ask, hey, can I buy a llama? Can I buy a boat? Can I buy a car? Can I buy a house? Whatever. And she goes over your financial statements and she gives you a high-level approach in regards to if it's a yay or nay. So I'm going to kind of do that with magic investments and actual people that send me information. And so if you're interested in being part of that, all you need to do is go to VintageMagic.com and go to the contact us and send me a message. And you like to be a part of a YouTube video where I analyze your collection and whatnot. And you can be anything. It can be, hey, do you think this trade is good? What are your thoughts on it? Should I sell now? Should I buy now? Should I, So these are all questions that are relevant to the channel, and I'm happy to go over that. Now, please keep it focused towards eternal stuff. So vintage, old school, legacy, artwork, rarities, uncut sheets, random stuff. I mean, that's fine. But any of the standard or modern stuff, generally I stay, we're not a company that sells that stuff. So I couldn't give you any advice on that. And remember, any advice that I give you is really my opinion. You guys need to do due diligence to research your own opinions and formulate your own opinions and develop, a great network to kind of, figure out what is the best solution for your personal life. So I have a client named Maynard from Camden, Missouri. He wanted me to do a video. Hey Maynard, thanks again for being my first, I call this like Ask Daniel, Ask Daniel in MTG investing. So he's my first, I want to say guinea pig, but first person to do this. So Maynard is a father. He's 32. He also has a wife that's 26. He has two kids. They're 4.5 months and 8 years. So what's really important here I think that's important because he has 3 dependents. So it's basically, him and 3 other people. When you invest in something, you got to make sure you have kind of a perspective on the people that you're taking care of too. Another thing is, when I do these kind of videos, I want to go over the actual financial debt, balance sheet on a high level, and your investments and your income too. So he makes, his wife and him combined about $60K before taxes. His debt is, and there's no other income besides that. His debt is basically a student loan. He owes about $50K, where it's a 3 and 4% interest rate. And he has a car he needs to pay off. By 2018, he'll pay it off. He owes about $1,400. And I also asked about retirement. So there's 2 types of things I need to know. Do you have a Roth IRA? And a Roth IRA is basically after you get paid, you basically can put into a Roth IRA, which is about $5,500 a year per individual. So you and your wife, where you basically can choose mutual funds, individual stocks, bonds, whatnot, and basically anything you make from that. And then you take out, I believe that's 65. Don't quote me on that, just research that. There's no additional money you have to pay as income. Huge advantage, because if you make $1 million of profit from that, let's say throughout the years, typically you have to pay taxes on that. It's definitely a great way to invest if you start early. Another type of investment I asked for is 401k. And 401k is basically through your current job. Most companies match 401k. So if it's, let's say you make $3,000 a month and you contribute $300 of that paycheck to your 401k, leaves you with $2,700. What's good about 401k is you get taxed only on the $2,700, not $3,000. And then if your employer matches, let's say they do a 1-for-1, up to 3% or something, so they basically are contribute $300, let's say. That's amazing. So that's an advantage when you work for a corporation or mid-sized company. So in this case, Maynard does not have any 401k or Roth IRA contributions at all. So this is something we have to take into account. And his mortgage, he owes $80K, and house is appraised at $115K. So what's good about that is his house is not upside down. It's not like the value of his home is half the value of what he owes. And also he has $5,000 savings in his bank account. So guys, let's be nice to people here. If you're going to leave comments and suggestions and thoughts, I'm perfectly fine with that. But let's not, insult or bully people about their financial wealth or their net worth. I feel like that's the type of negativity that is unfortunately in society. But we can keep this very professional and very adult-like. And if you have constructive criticism, please leave your comments. I mean, I really would appreciate that. But I think Maynard would appreciate it too. But let's have a healthy conversation. All right, so based on all this, I mean, Maynard, I'm talking to you now. So a couple things here. What's really important to understand is that, in talking on the phone too, is you have to make sure you have a plan and a financial plan. And one of the recommendations I recommend for you is going to a financial advisor. Those are people that have passed the Series 66 and Series 7 test, and companies like Edward Jones, which is I think based out of Missouri, or Fidelity, which is the biggest mutual fund company in the world. And they basically have retail shops where you can talk to financial advisors. And there's also private financial advisors too. So I'm sure in the Missouri area there's a slew of them. And St. Louis, I'm not sure where Camdenton is, but St. Louis is a huge city and they have plenty of financial advisors, or maybe Kansas City. So I'm not familiar where you're at, but there's plenty of them. And so financial advisors is a relationship. You're going to have a relationship with this person. They're going to give you free advice. It's not going to cost you a dime. And I think you and your wife should go to that meeting and really understand a plan for the future. It's worth it, well worth it, because especially with two children, young children, you want to start early and you want to start thinking about your retirement. And at 32 and 26, it definitely is not the ideal time to invest. You should have started, I think, be very aggressive, started in your teens to start working. But hey, we all, had a different start. So make sure, get in that financial advisor in your local area. Once you talk to a financial advisor, my recommendation here is consolidate your debt. I've seen student loan rates at 1% to 2% sometimes, where you can consolidate. I think that's always the best way to go. Your student loan sometimes the interest doesn't hit at a certain time. So I'm not too sure when your interest actually hits, but if it's one of those student rate loans where it's deferred until a few years afterwards or something, when you're done with school or something like that, then you definitely have an advantage there. But if it's already charged you interest, it's something you want to pay over the minimum immediately. What's good about in this situation for Maynard, he has no credit card debt at all, or he may charge credit cards and pay them off, which is very good. Kudos to you. And that's really critical, is that if you do have credit card debt with anybody, you have to pay off more than the minimum, double or all of it, really. My advice is to pay the whole thing off every month. But if you can't do that, always pay off your highest rate credit card first. Otherwise, you're going to get big trouble. So These are non-Magic related topics. I think it's real important we talk about though, because if you don't have a healthy balance sheet for yourself personally, you're gonna have a very challenged time to invest in anything in Magic. So let's talk about Maynard's goals in Magic. He wants to collect an old school, make an old school deck here or two, and he also wants an old school cube. And he also likes the idea of owning graded Magic cards, sealed product from the early sets, and also original artwork. So look, I think what I love about this situation is he has a phenomenal love for everything old school, and that's kind of what I deal with, which is amazing. But I think one of the key components to a successful investment, Maynard, is you need to think about this as, a couple things. Is this a luxury or are you trying to make money? And I think most people out there are just trying to have fun with the game. And I myself love old school. I love playing old school decks. I love messing around. I have this Power Monolith deck that I keep tweaking around. I keep losing to with different things, but I love the game. I've joined like a Skype group, for example. You can play old school on Facebook Skype group. You can play with anybody in the world. And so maybe that might be something you like. You might want to make some decks and play. And if you're more of a casual player, you're looking to make a cube out of it too, I think that's great. I think that's something you should start with. I'm not sure about the sets, and I'm not sure about the graded cards or the artwork, because monetarily that's going to require you to have enough capital to really, to have enough capital to like withstand the losses and the gains over the time. So I would recommend starting with this cube, and I'll give you some tips on how to get the best value there. One thing I forgot to mention was cash flow. Maynard's situation, he has $5K cash savings, and I think that's fine, but ideally, Maynard, I would recommend 25, 30K. I usually recommend half your annual wage just to protect situations that could happen. I mean, you have two children, you have a wife, there's things that occur. I'm not talking about cash that you go off on a vacation. No, I'm talking about a cash that if something happens to your children or something happens to you or something, you need to have something to back you up, back your family up. Also with your situation, you might want to consider a life insurance plan, because you're at a good age where you and your wife work, but if something does happen to you or your wife, your children do have a good start and a good future moving forward. So in terms of the Magic side, let's talk about a couple things that are important for like starting a cube or making decks. I think the most critical thing, takeaways here, is more I think about it is I look at myself as a consumer myself. If you think about what you do on your daily life, you go to restaurants, you go to hotels, you travel. Think about those places you go to and the hotels and restaurants you go to where you really see that exceptional service and exceptional value for your money. And I'm not talking about paying just the cheapest. I'm talking about paying the best value for your dollar. And what that means is that not just price, but value. There's a saying in business is that if you sell on price, you lose on price. So people, if you go to a Walmart, no offense to Walmart, you're going to get a really good price generally for a retail side. But if you go to like a Bloomingdale's or a Nordstrom's or like a Dillard's or a more higher end shopping experience, you're going to get better service, right? The more you pay. And so you have to realize, you have to ask yourself, what is more valuable to you? Is it the professionalism and the communication of the vendor you're dealing with, or is it just the price? And so you'll realize that if it's just the price, you're ultimately just going to be haggled. You're going to be treated as a customer, unfortunately, as a person that just wants the best price and really doesn't care about the quality. And you're always going to get the kind of the least quality stuff, if you know what I mean, right? So when it comes to a cube, cubes only have one of every card. And old school decks generally have 4 ofs and such. You want to think about, is that resale value of what you bought going to be something that can go up in value? Is it something that will, the next person, if you do sell it, will appreciate and such? So one of the biggest things when you collect these kind of cards is you want to make sure you're getting the best price and value. How do you really do that though? one of the things I do is I go on eBay completed sales, and if you go on eBay and type in like an Alpha Black Lotus, you'll see on the left-hand side, you click on sold or completed items. You'll notice that what has been sold, and you can, and completed, and you can search and sort them based on price when they've been listed on the top search filter too. And when you do that, you'll be able to get some really great real-time data of what's sold. Now, some people like to use TCG Player, and no offense to TCG Player, but those are actually vendors who are trying to sell you a product, not actual sales. And that's really important to understand, is that what TCG mid prices say, that is not what the market price is. What is the market price? It's probably one of the most difficult things to figure out, is what is the market price of anything. When you talk about an item like Alliance's Force of Will or the Eternal Master's Force of Will, there's a lot of market data for that card. So you can find that almost anywhere, from abugames.com, Star City, my website, whatever, Troll and Toad. You can look at different vendors who have the card available, and you can basically do a little bit of research on kind of the price. Now, you'll find out that some people are lower, some people are higher, but based on condition. And that's another metric that I want you to look at, is that condition of your cube and your old school cards is really critical. Not everybody that sells the cards are going to be the same condition standard that you are, or what the next company is. So ABU Games uses, I believe, a near mint to mint, and then they have a played scale. Star City uses 4-tier, which is near mint, lightly played, moderate played, and heavily played. Our site, vintagemagic.com, we use a 10-point scale like Beckett and PSA, the grading companies, and we really look at the finer details of the card, as if you were going to grade them. So you need to be very careful on who you deal with and what standard, because you'll notice that a card from our company that may be near mint might be the top level of like another company. You just